And good morning to everybody in the States and good evening to those in India. Thank you so much, Gabs, for having me today on International Women's Day. But I have to be frank, everybody knows I'm not known for my diplomacy. So I think today isn't International Women's Day. I think it's just another day that the world realizes that women have to be celebrated because, according to me, I think every day is a Women's Day because we don't go around celebrating a man's day. So I don't see why we should celebrate Women's Day. So I think it's just for the world to, realize that, okay, hey, there's another gender and they have to be celebrated. There are lovely people here today on this panel, and I don't know whether I have the experience or the seniority to talk here today, but thank you for having me. And for whatever little experience I bring today, I will definitely share it. Um, I think my childhood was a pretty lower middle class family, and we didn't start off very rich. We started off as a pretty lower middle income family, and my dad and my mother worked really hard to get to where they are. We never had things really easy, and like I said, money is something which hasn't changed me because we know what it is not to have money at the same time to have money. And I think my inspiration had always been my mother because she was later on, for whatever reasons, they got divorced and she single-handedly raised us. So being a single woman in those days used to be a big taboo because if you were divorced, they were like, oh my God, she was divorced. And in India, being a divorcee was like a big, big taboo. But she fought all those things and she brought us up really proud. And, I think we've all, one thing we've learned is there's always a right and wrong, and I never had a gray shade. So I would always call a spade, and that's what I've been always known for. And through the years, I realized that I have a big passion for acting. But then it was never really welcome to the family because my father was an actor, but then he was never really for it because there is this kind of image that in the film industry, people tend to be, made of use and this whole of casting couch and, the reputation that follows and women can't get married when you're an actress, you won't find boys. There's a lot of list of cons that happens to be attached to being an actress. But then I stood my ground and I fought against all odds and decided to become an actor. And it's taken me a good long 9 years to get to where I am today. It's been a slow and steady journey, but thank you. And I have made it here today on my own terms with no recommendations and no help from my family whatsoever. I didn't bank on my father's name for being an actor, and I made it on my own. Meanwhile, there were certain things that were going on in the industry, like the casting couch, which happened to me personally. And when it happened to me, it just got me thinking that when somebody comes from a background like I do, and when the person isn't afraid to, sexually harass you, then it could be happening to every single girl out there. So that made me think and wonder, saying, if every woman has to go through and compromise her dignity in order to get a job, that is something that has to be demolished in every way possible. Which is why it got me thinking, and I realized what can we actually do practically. It's not about us voicing our opinion. It's not about us, trying to create awareness, but what can we practically do? Which is what I went and figured out with the lawyers that India is supposed to have a Mahila code, which means a fast track code for women in every state. But sadly, in Tamil Nadu, instead of having about 33, we have 5, which is an alarming rate, which is why the cases are pending, which is why women don't get justice. And a particular case has to be dragged on for almost 7 to 8 years or even 10 years sometime in order to get justice. And the poor woman has to keep going through the same torture and torment over and over again, coming to those courts, reliving it without being able to move on. Which is why I formulated a petition to the law minister stating that please open up the Mahila courts in every single district, and also please grant us justice within 6 months of the case, because a lawyer says that we don't need more to 2 to 3 months in order to get your evidence right in order to fight the case, which means we're just being lazy, not implementing the laws as been written. So which is why I did the petition. Over about 5 lakh people signed it. I went to the law minister in Delhi. I spoke to them, and then in front of me, he actually issued out letters to all the chief ministers of every single state saying a Mahila court has to be opened up in every district of the country. So that is something which I'm proud that I was managed to, try and help out in. India is not a bad country. It's actually one of the best countries in the world. But in terms of our mindset, women have always been taught to be the second in turns, you know. So we've always been taught the woman has to be soft, the woman has to be quiet, she has to be patient, she has to put up with her man, and you know that's how they kind of the social taglines to women. But it's so nice to see over the years that women from different walks of life have been breaking those barriers over and over again. And it's also nice to see women growing from strength to strength, not just being that able to do everything, not just being a housewife, but being a housewife in addition to being probably a CEO or a CFO or an astronaut or an engineer or whatever it is that they're doing in their own walks of life. Um, Women, I think, tend to underplay ourselves because we always say, oh, she's a woman and it's so good that she created this. But I'm saying, why do that at all? Grab your power. Don't wait for somebody else to, come and appreciate you for what you're doing. Grab your power and own it. That's what I believe in. I think you should just own what you do and don't wait for people to come and say, hey, you did a good job in spite of being a woman. That's not something which I agree with, which is why I said I don't believe in celebrating International Women's Day, because I think every day should be celebrated as a Women's Day. And another thing which I would love to shine light on is to all the parents who are watching this. Children have to be taught good touch and bad touch. And why I impose this point very, very strongly is the fact that I was a victim of child abuse. And in India, we're not allowed to talk about it because they say if your child has been abused, you don't talk about it. You keep quiet about it. You don't raise questions. You don't tell the public. You don't tell people. You don't call out the person who abused you. But on the contrary, I think if your child is being taught a good touch and bad touch, the child will at least come up to you and say that something wrong has happened. You know, because I didn't have that when I was growing up. I didn't know who to tell. In fact, there was a lot of fear and confusion in me when it happened to me several times. I didn't know how to go and explain to my parents that what was happening was wrong because I didn't know that it was wrong. You know, you're a bit confused. You're growing up, and so many children victims of child abuse grow up to have so many psychological scars. You know, they grow up and people don't address that. I think it's very, very important that is being addressed. So, which is why I stand up for child abuse and against it very, very, very strongly, because I think it's important that parents teach children no matter what. Because in India, sex is a taboo, but funnily enough, we are supposed almost number one in population. So I think sex isn't a problem happening in India. So I just say, why not talk about it to your children? You know, educate them, and don't keep thinking that being a girl is you're the weaker one. It's really not, because on the contrary, as the world believes that women are the weaker sex, it's quite the opposite, because women give birth to everybody in the world, and if you can withstand that kind of pain, I think you're clearly the stronger sex. So here's to every single woman out there who thinks she's a weaker sex. Please don't. I think we're here today to celebrate us on an everyday basis. Stand strong, believe in yourself, and I choose to challenge every single man out there, or transgender, every single person, that if you can be half as strong as a woman, consider yourself lucky. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Varalakshmi. I just love your words, and I love what you have done to raise awareness. The sexual harassment is a global issue, and it's a strong global issue. So I think that women all over the world need to really stand up and push for, the laws like you did in India. I'm just curious what challenges you came across as you were really pushing for those laws to be implemented.
So one of the main reasons, Kerry, was the fact that, see, at home, it's like any Indian family. You know, the first thing that comes about when you're going to protest for something is fear. Fear always takes over. But luckily, fear is something which I don't let myself feel. And I think that's why I am here today, because if I had to follow the regular path, I don't think you'll be having me on this conference today. So that's one of the main reasons, the first thing I felt. But then when I think about it, if people having a voice don't stand up, then nobody ever will. And if we keep fearing what is going to happen, then the world will never change. So one of the main challenges I faced was the fact that when I was growing, this happened at a very early stage in my career. So everybody was like, if you call out people and if you start saying there's sexual harassment happening in the industry, what's going to happen to your career? The first thing is that they'll start banning you. They'll start, they'll stop giving you work, which did. it did happen. I will not say that it didn't happen. There were a lot of films where I wasn't accepted because they said she's too professional. So I said, when did too professional becoming a problem? So
Yep.
that is the problem. So I have faced a lot of challenges like that, Carrie. That's which is why I said if I probably took the easy way out, I'll probably be number one, maybe number 2-3 years, and opposed to being the place that I am today in 9 years. It's taken me a long way because I won't say slow and steady, but I'll just say better late than never, and it's taken its time, but I still have my dignity intact, and I have my pride intact, and I go to sleep very well at night knowing that I have done what I've done. So one of the second challenges is because the head of the state in our state, again, is at that point of time was a male, so he doesn't really understand the value of what I was trying to say to him, which is why it was quite shocking because all the other head of states immediately responded to the law minister's letter saying that yes, we will implement it, and ours was the only state which didn't reply. And I again went after a couple of months, went back to the head of state and said, what is happening? And he just smiled it off. So sometimes your fight goes nowhere, but at least it's good to know that there's some awareness that's being caused by it. And, at least people got to know about it because for whatever worth and whatever point of status that I had, it got to reach a certain amount of people. So at least there was awareness spread about it.
Yeah, I love it. Well, and I love that you went back and challenged again, right? Because that's what's necessary. Neither, I can relate to you wouldn't be where you are today if you didn't challenge, right? Because I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't challenge.
Exactly.
And it's interesting how there's different ways that women get labeled, right? So in corporate America, we get labeled as aggressive when we challenge, and our male counterparts, it's looked as a positive thing and it's looked as a negative thing for us. So I'm sure you've experienced similar things where something that you're doing just, similar to a male is looked at as negative instead of positive. I'm sure you've experienced that.
Yes, for the very basic, coming down to the basic is our remuneration. The men do the same work that we do. We stand in the same exact sun. We stand exactly in front of the same camera. We do the exact same work, if not better, and we still get paid like really, really less. So that's still it's an ongoing fight, I must say, because we don't get paid equally when it comes to the men. And one of the other things is that if a man is married, it's all right. But if a woman gets married, then your market goes, So I'm like, what is that? But people you forget how to stop acting when you get married, or there's some kind of a secret bind that happens where, the woman loses her touch to becoming an actress after marriage. So those are the kind of stigmas that are attached to being an actress, And in my case, I was very vocal about it. So initially, actually, when I came into the industry, everybody said, "Oh, her voice is too masculine, and she's never going to make it as an actress." And it was she's never been able to express her views on cinema, and she can't act and all that. And today, it's just exactly the opposite. People, my biggest USP is my voice. So people recognize me through my voice, and if they don't find my voice on cinema, I see comments saying, "Why haven't you used your voice for dubbing?" So it's things like that. And I've always looked at life that take something which people point as a negative and turn that into your biggest positive and strength, which Absolutely. Is what I did.
That's fantastic. Yes, I love it. I have two more questions, and then we're going to run out of time. So I know you also have a degree, and it's a scientific degree, which is usually male dominated. So what did you encounter going for your scientific degree?
So I actually wanted to do my medicine, actually. I wanted to become a neurosurgeon, but then as usual, the family said, "Oh no, you can't do medicine and it's too long and you'll be studying for the rest of your life and la 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 la." And I'm like, I like biology and I wanted it because my hands are very dexterous, and maybe if I wasn't an actress, I'd have probably become a doctor. But they didn't allow me to become a doctor. So that was one of the first challenges I faced, which is why I settled for studying microbiology, because I thought I could get into forensic science. But then after completing microbiology, India wasn't there in terms of forensic science, in terms of, the facilities we have right now. So again, Dad was like, I know you're interested in all this, but then where will it lead to? You won't have a proper future. So, then go complete your management. So I was a very good daughter, because I listened to whatever they said, at least up to the age of 18. I completed my science. I completed my education. I did my master's. I came back. I said, okay, fine. Now I've done it all. Now I want to become an actress. So I'm going to acting school and doing it my way. So
I love it.
yeah.
That's fantastic. So all the issues that you brought up this morning or this evening, they're similar issues across the globe.
Yes.
So my last question to you is, what advice, and this is a global audience, so what advice do you give to women and men alike in order for this gender equality to become a reality? What is your advice to folks?
It's very small things, Carrie, according to me, because I know we keep emphasizing on gender equality and trying to fight for it and trying to, I feel like we're more asking for permission for gender equality as opposing to own it. There's a very big difference. So when a woman walks on a road, we always have the sense of fear that, we shouldn't walk alone, or, we have this little bit of, looking down and walking. They say, don't look straight in the man's eyes because you might, entice him or things like that. So my point is very simple. I'm saying, if you have a sister and she's walking around with a short skirt, would you like to rape her? I don't think so. So then why do you get the emotion of wanting to rape another girl who's walking around in a short skirt, or, blame her dressing or blame her character? Who she is who she is. There's no judgment on who she is. She could have a hazard problems at home. So my first thing is, stop being judgmental on anybody, because we don't know their backgrounds. You don't know where they come from. They might be Instagram friendly and smiling, or they could be the biggest person suffering from depression at home. You don't know that. Don't go by what social media has to say. Don't go by what people have to say. I think stop being judgmental, first of all. Let everybody, including male or female or transgender or whichever sex you are, let them grow to be the person they're meant to be. Stop, saying this is who you have to be. That's the biggest, I think that's what we need to stop. Stop telling girls that you have to be only this. You can't be this, or you can't become an athlete, or you can't become an actress, or you can't become a sports person. You are nobody to tell somebody who to become. Yes, you've brought them into the world, but they are their own person. They get to be who they want to be. So that's something which is very, very important. And if you're a woman, stop being afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just when a man goes out and has sex with multiple partners, he doesn't get, labeled. So why do you have to be worried about getting labeled about anything? Don't get labeled for anything. And even if you do get raped, fight it. Don't shy away from it.
Right.
Don't shy away and say, no, I got raped, I've been violated. So the world doesn't have to know. The world has to know, because the person to be shamed is the accused. It's not you. It is not you that has to be accused. You don't have to feel any shame. Go out there and name the person. Make them feel the shame. Name him and shame him. So that's something which is very, very important. So don't feel in any way like the weaker sex, because clearly we're not. If we can bleed for 3 days in a month for all of our lives and not complain about it, I don't think you have anything to complain about.
There's a lot of power in that. Thank you so much, Varalakshmi. Really appreciate your time this morning. This has been fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me today, Carrie, and thank you so much, Sumit and Ranjini ma'am and Mr. Jaiswal. Thank you all the dignitaries today on GAFS. Thank you so much for having me. And like I said, I won't wish you a happy International Women's Day, but I will wish you a very happy day to celebrate women.